Hello there and welcome to Marc Carr's Hypnotherapy. Today we have Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
How you doing, buddy? You all right?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Jolly good. As I always start, anybody that watches my videos, they'll know that I always start with a massive thank you for doing this. As I said to you, you just can't quantify how valuable a video testimonial is. It's easy to write things down, but there's nothing better than seeing client and subject and therapist there talking about what was going on. So Mark's got an interesting story to tell us. We worked together about a month or two ago now, and yeah, and we've had well, Mark's had great results because he's done the work. So, Mark, I suppose without further ado, why don't you tell us what was going on with you?
Yeah, so the main kind of issues I faced really was anxiety, being in closed and wide open spaces as well, and not being able to kind of feel any way that I could escape from them, which would lead me to kind of have panic attacks, really. Main reasons for trying this, I've got two young daughters, and we would go and try and experience something together, go on a train or flying aboard, even kind of going to a shopping centre and they go in the lift and I have to disappear and walk downstairs, and it's kind of putting my anxieties and worries onto them, and I could see that as they're getting older, they're recognising it, wondering what daddy's doing, why he's disappearing off, and they're doing things. Um, and I think the last thing that happened, we went to do a ride on the a train journey for Christmas, and I got off and left my family on there, and I could see hundreds and hundreds of other people being able to do this and enjoy that with them. And I was running away, which was just the final straw, really, that I no longer wanted to be like that.
It's a dad thing, isn't it? It's
Mm.
dad's got to be there. I understand as a parent myself. Well, I understand to a point. I never truly understand what you've been through or what you feel, but as a parent, I kind of resonate slightly with that. So you decided to take matters in hand, and what made you choose? What made you choose hypnotherapy?
Um, Without sounding odd, I suppose, I believe in it. And I believe, a subconscious mind is can be overwhelming and can take control of most situations. I've done some research. My wife, I don't know if I ever told you, is a mental health nurse. And we talk about things like that and the mind and what you're doing. I know that it comes from something I wasn't able to control. And I would always go and try and put myself into these situations, and have to back out. And it was frustrating me that I wasn't able to control that. Now with hypnotherapy, I understood that it kind of goes into that subconscious, and that's really where I thought my problem was.
You know what? I think in 8 years of doing hypnotherapy, I can't recall anybody saying I believe in it. And that moment you said that to yourself, I promise you, the moment you said that to yourself was the moment that you solved your problem right there.
Mm,
There was no other way you were going to go. You were going to solve this. There was no resistance at all. Fabulous to hear those words. I believed in it
yeah.
because it's a factual thing. It's a thing that happens to us all the time. Hypnosis is nothing new to us. So, you found me. You can't remember how you found me. We had a little chat
No,
before
I
and you
can't.
can't remember.
An online advert somewhere, and sent in like a request to have a chat and meet you, and we had a pre-consultation. Yeah, which just installed more that I thought this, and has been a kind of solution to a lot of the problems that I had.
Okay. And so onto the hypnosis side of things. What did you think hypnosis was going to be like?
Um, I'm glad it was exactly the way it was, but I suppose naivety. I wasn't too sure. Like I knew it wasn't as you see on the telly and you click your fingers, and the thing I said when I first met you that we'd be having a discussion as opposed to kind of you just putting me out and away we go, so to speak. But
Absolutely
yeah, I
right.
mean there is I was quite comfortable with the lead up to it. Maybe a few hours before, you're kind of thinking, what am I doing? And I think a worry, and speaking to other people after, is that you can feel that it's going to change your whole personality forever, and it to an extent. After our first meet session, my wife was like, "You're a lot more confident." She's like, oh, I don't know about this. It's kind of, I come out myself a lot more. But that constant worry that you have, it was lifted. And it did. It makes you feel lighter and slightly different, but it's all in a really positive, smooth way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole process was actually quite relaxing and
And,
enjoyable.
and that smoothness was just the result of a way of actually doing hypnosis. Whereas, as you rightly say, a lot of people see hypnosis on TV and they'll see a load of people sat in a bunch of chairs, and the hypnotist will go up and touch the shoulder and go sleep, and it'll drop like that, or they'll
Mm,
go off you go, bang, off you go. Well, I do something called conversational hypnosis, and it's essentially not me bringing a therapy to you, but you finding your internal therapy and installing it, which is why it is essentially, and it's not talk therapy, by the way. It's not counseling,
mm,
because I don't say to you, tell me about your father, tell me about your mother, this, that, and the other. The only question I ask is, what's the problem?
yeah.
And it just went on from there, didn't it? And there are some rather odd things. Well, I say odd, they're not odd to me, and they're probably not odd to you anymore. But some things happened during your session. Do you recall what happened?
Some bits of it. So
Some bits of it.
I it is. I just can only describe it as wild. Really, it's like you are fully aware, and there's no. I think that fear of the problem I had is like you want to get out of it, but you don't want to get out of it. So you're happy just to kind of sit there, and I could feel myself completely hunched over, um, probably dribbling.
No, you weren't. I promise. And if it did, I always carry a little tissues there. Just dab away. There
Right.
you go.
You do lose sense of time. Um, you wouldn't know how long you was under for. But it's all very relaxed and comfortable. But whatever happens, if anything, there's a conversation in between. I don't know, and I can if I did it again, I know the point now where it happens. There's just a kind of sigh, and then you relax.
There,
Um,
that sigh, but ladies and gents, the sigh that Mark talks of, it happens a few times. There's a few things that happen during the process, during the whole sort of hypnotherapy, and one of the things, as Mark rightly says, is he sighed, and this sigh is actually an indication from the subconscious mind that something has changed. Something is being dealt with. And there's other cues as well, which I won't say on here because if somebody else works with me, it'll spoil it. But yeah, a sigh is definitely a method by which the subconscious mind speaks and says, let that go. And
yeah,
off it
it's
goes.
like
Yeah.
acceptance really, and allows you to relax. And then that's where I felt I went into the sleep, if that's the right word for it.
Yeah, I mean, you can call it sleep, but it's not sleep, is it?
No,
Because again, you're totally aware of what's
yeah,
going on. If I'd have suddenly said, "Take your shirt off, mate," yeah, I'd have got a right-hander straight
yeah.
away. Yeah, eyes open, right-hander. So yeah, and was there anything else about the hypnosis stage that you recall? I mean, I asked a few questions, didn't I? And then
Yeah, so kind of prior to it, you'd ask a question and I'd explain my problem or give my reasoning for why I think that is an issue. And after the hypnosis, you can't put logic to that. The logic that was there for me before had gone.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
and all that was left in its place was positivity and the right
yeah,
stuff.
basically just content.
Which moves us on smoothly to the next stage. Um, how are you now?
So I'm really good, and I'm completely different with my worries that I had before. So I'd never go in a lift. I've worked in the same building with a lift in for 9 years. I'd fight 10 people to, if they tried to push me in it to get out. The next day, I went up to it, went in it, wouldn't let the door shut. Then I come back out. Then I went back in with a colleague, and then we come back out. And then I was just sitting there, and there was a word, the phrase that you use, where the only person, and I repeat this to myself, that stops me doing something is me. And I said that to myself and went in there and went down, and then went up, and then went down. um, and my colleagues. the people that work with me, they were in disbelief of it really. And then I've managed to do, I've done it again. We went to the O2. We went up for dinner. We went up in the lift. And then that was the second time with Sinead. Um, yeah, and people can't quite really believe it. But what's like, you have to still work on it after. You know,
Yes.
it's
Go on.
not just you're fixed and that's the end of it. It's still a challenge, but that fear and that burning panic that you get isn't there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it's not just that's the solution and it's the end to the problem. I don't think you have to still work slightly and then challenge yourself. If you just then you could just avoid all the things you avoided before, but you have to go and give it a go.
And I'm glad you mentioned that working further on afterwards, because there is what's called a processing period. Now, ladies and gents, Mark texted me a few days later and said, "Can I ask a question? Is it normal to feel a little bit of anxiety, the same with what I had before, because I'm at the O2 and I've got this feeling again, this slight feeling." And the main thing was, well, have you left the building? And he went, well, no, he hadn't. And that's the tester, because whereas before you would have left the building, you wouldn't be able to go in there. You sat, you went through it. Now, the way I look at it is this way. This is a processing period. And like anything else in life, we don't just accept things and that's it. We just accept it and that's it. If you buy an item, there's marketing. You look at the marketing. For Mark's case, the way I explained it was this: Mark's heavily into bikes. Okay, you don't mind me saying it, do you?
No, it's
You're
fine.
heavily into bikes, and like anything else, if you take your bike in to have the brakes done, you don't just hand it in and then they fix it and then they give it to you. They will test it. They'll send it, they'll go on a little run and they'll test the brakes. And then they'll advise you, first 500 miles, take it easy on the brakes. So there is a test. The subconscious mind every now and again will test the work that it has done. And it will give you that little, have a bit of pain. How do you handle that now? And rather than just getting up, walking out and running away from it, you go, no, I'm good. I'm sitting here. Great. Tick box. It's all about testing, and then the whole processing and fixing then just put together, and you will continue to get better. And that's the way I explained it. And I was so happy to get your text. I think a lot of people would think, "Oh crap, it's all gone wrong," but no, that's not the way at all. It was a fabulous text to get, and to hear that you sat there and went through it, fine, brilliant.
Yeah, that's and then them little wins and achievements lift you further.
Yep.
So it's kind of it's an ongoing process, but I'm completely different in a positive way to where I started this, like 100%.
Excellent. And the thing to remember also is the fact that although you've dealt with this, life will continue to throw hammers and spanners at you. So something else may occur. It's like having a headache. You have
Or
a headache, take a paracetamol. A few months from now, you might get another headache, take another paracetamol, which means if in a year's time you fancy a bit of a spa session with me, a bit of a sit down, have your nails done, toes done, or whatever else, call me up, and you can have a one-off session
yeah,
just as a MOT or service.
yeah, sounds brilliant.
Yeah. So is there anything else, Mark, that you'd like to
I just think if you tried normal things, not if you tried lots of things, or just trying to cope with something a lot yourself, and it just seems too much, it's worth trying this and reaching out for the help. But it does work, and I've got friends that are in situations that I'm sure are going to be calling Mark really soon if they haven't already, and it is kind of life changing. To without sounding too dramatic and over the top, it's not meant like that at all. It does change your life to quite a big extent.
nice? And for you, well, it is life changing. It's not
Mhm.
melodramatic. For you, it is. For somebody else, it might not be. But for it'd be, yeah, I solved the problem. For you, it's life changing.
Yeah, definitely.
Say it as it is. That's
Yeah.
fine. So I suppose really that unless there's anything else to add, Mark, I'd like to thank you again for doing this. Ladies and gents, um, I suppose it just remains for me to say, anxiety is prevalent now with what's going on in the world. There's all sorts of things going on. And a lot of the time we think we understand what the problem is, but actually what we're looking at is the symptom and not the actual problem, which makes things all the more confusing. So whether you work with me or somebody else, the moment you pick up that phone and say, I need help, you've smashed half your problem. Okay. And the therapy side of things is actually not that difficult, but it's that first move, that deciding, look, this is impacting my life and I need to do something about it. You pick up that phone, you make the change right there and then. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute privilege. Mark, it's been a privilege. Thank you for entrusting me with your mind and your home. And who knows, I'll maybe see you in a year for a bit of a spa session.
Sounds good.
And yeah, so ladies and gents, you can find me on Google, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'm also on TikTok now. I've joined the old TikTok gang. And my website is www.markcarterhypnotherapy.com. So, ladies and gentlemen, it just remains for me to say this is Mark Carter of Marc Carter Hypnotherapy, wishing you the very best mental, emotional, and physical health. Goodbye.